Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer Studio episode. Today we're taking a little closer look at the MI-24V Hind E, which was a limited batch of 50 for our Ukrainian benefit lineup. So they're already gone, but we finally got a complete model here up and ready to rock. And so we got Dan joining us in studio to talk a little bit about what was kind of a two-part build, because you had the hip and the hind come together kind of at the same time. We released them on a little different schedule. This was the first one that we kicked off of, and some significant changes, especially when it comes to the coloring compared to the most recent one that we released. Sure. But kind of going back to that dark green of the even older hind in that sense.
Yeah, this is the as built for export model. This was a export hind built by Russia, exported to the Czech Air Force, Czech Republic Air Force. Czech Republic then donated it to Ukraine. Donated a couple of them back to Ukraine. Yeah, so it went back in a circle during the Ukraine War, early on in the Ukraine War, and of course all the Czech markings have been painted over with the blue and the yellow stripes.
Yeah,
that's what you'll see. That and it's also for easy identification. The white stripes on the tail. That's a unique feature of the Ukrainian Air Force, or in this case, it's Ukrainian Army Aviation.
I suppose. Yeah.
So we have the hind. I mean, this is like the third hind based on my original model from years ago, and it's set up as it would be, as we've seen pictures of it, as we've seen video of it flying for the Ukraine Army Aviation. Just the rocket armaments. I've seen them lately. They've been adding extra fuel tanks, external fuel tanks out of these outer.
Fly a little further.
Yeah, out of these outer wing pods here, out of the underwing pods. We did some printing, some unique printing. We do have, of course, the Ukrainian rondelle on the side here. There's also, we did some new flare pods. So they were on the previous models. We're just like, well, let's get these printed up now that we have that capability.
Yeah.
Now that we're a little bit more advanced in our printing ability.
That's a very subtle printed detail there as well. And I also want to point out, just like you'd look at the integration between the printing coloration and the coloration of the bricks as well. I mean, that rondelle compared to the actual Lego colors, pretty dang spot on. That's some excellent color matching going on there.
Right. It's quite good. I'm impressed. We do have the aviation stand. The original models didn't come with the stand, so this is an upgrade from the previous hind. You can't just take the stand and attach it to your previous hind. There's actually a lot going inside to make it
integrate. Yeah,
that stand happen. But you can take it off fairly easy. I mean, it's just a whoop.
Which I love how solid this build is. I know our previous hinds have been all pretty rock solid as well, but this one in particular just has a very swooshable aspect to it.
It's a very Soviet user-friendly design. I mean, maybe we lose a little bit of miles per hour and miles per gallon, or kilometers per hour, kilometers per kilograms per weight-wise. But yeah, I mean, it's built to be heavy duty.
Yeah,
it's built, and they're It's crazy because the Ukrainians are actually pulling these out of service from back in the 90s when they were built. So this is an example of a more modern version, but they're pulling these things out. They haven't been flown in years.
Right.
They've been sitting in storage and they're using them now. They've been refurbishing them ever since 2014 when
everything kind of started.
Right, when Crimea was first taken over by Russia. They've been like, oh, now we have to have an army because our security guarantees mean nothing anymore.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, so this is part of the current ongoing struggle to expel the invaders from Ukrainian territory, and these are flying now. And the money that we raised for this actually bought several helmets for the and other safety gear and tools for the Ukrainian Air Force or airmen. We can't directly fund the war effort, but we can certainly support them with safety equipment and things like that.
Absolutely. Well, and if you didn't know, first things first, the effort to date has raised almost $200,000, which is just an awesome number to be reaching. But then what we've been doing recently, because if you've tracked this project, you've known we've kind of been working with different charities as we've learned more about where we can do the most good. Wingmen for Ukraine is one of those charities, and everything aviation related, from the Ghost to these helicopters, etc., that is where the money has been going related to those projects. And then United 24, which is the other official charity, has been kind of getting the rest of that stuff. So it is a little split. But it is cool to see like this literally being able to go help purchase safety equipment, purchase helmets, whatever else you need to actually fly in these vehicles themselves, which is just a really, really cool thing to see.
Many thousands of dollars, and they're buying new, state-of-the-art Western gear. This is not, we're not buying surplus Soviet era. Here's your Soviet first aid kit, which I'm sure the Russians are enjoying using at this point.
Yeah, no kidding.
No, they're getting modern Western gear, all brand new or used. In fact, I donated my own personal flight helmet.
Literally, the one that used to sit in to sit in the studio.
Right. So maybe someday we'll see a picture of a Ukrainian pilot wearing
a big Brickmania sticker on the back.
Yeah,
never
someday.
know.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. So talking about the build itself, obviously we talked about some of the printing elements. It's cool to see this little quad barrel cannon that we have here in the front. Are there any play features, etc.? It looks like we've got some opening doors, whatever, on the sides.
Well,
here.
yeah. Let's actually stop this.
Yeah, go for it.
So that's one thing that's unique about the Hind. The Hind was evolved from it's basically the MIH HIP, which is the other helicopter we did at the same time. They decided to make a specific gunship version of it. So it's this gigantic helicopter. They narrowed the body down, streamlined it, and this is like kind of the final evolution of the Hind. So it is a gunship. You have one pilot in the back here. You have a gunner in the front. So they tandem mounted them that way so that they could actually narrow the fuselage down.
No side by sides.
So if you're attacking a target, it makes a much harder silhouette, much smaller silhouette when you narrow the body down. Because it is such a big, it is like a cargo helicopter at heart. They do have this little compartment in here that you can actually fit some troops in it.
Okay.
I think it's like 4 to 6 guys can actually fit in here. Do they actually do that in combat? I don't know.
Hard to say.
I would imagine that you'd have some of these things land, guys get out, and then other ones are circling around. But it would make more sense to me, and I think this is what they ended up doing, is just they would send these as escorts for the actual troop-carrying helicopters.
The ones that can hold a little bit more people.
But like I say, if maybe you're trying to rescue a downed airman or something, you do have that opportunity to have extra space, which none of the American helicopters have that. So,
sure.
Your closest thing would be like the Venom. The latest Huey that the Marine Corps has used. There's no room on a Cobra.
No.
Unless you're going to hold on to that ski.
Yeah, sit on my lap. Yeah, I know what you mean. Mm-hmm.
So it does have the opening crew doors here. The cargo compartment. We only have the 2 rocket bays. If you have some of the other we have instructions available of the older Hinds. So if you have that, you can make some of the other armaments, so you can match the older versions of the Hind.
Not to mention, some of those are fairly easy to just look at pictures and reverse engineer a little bit when they're smaller builds like that.
This gun right now, the only place you're going to be able to get this gun is in the kit.
Right.
So, maybe at some point we can make this. It's a 4-barrel. I think I mistakenly said it was a 20 millimeter cannon. It's actually the equivalent of a 50 caliber.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's like 12.7 millimeter, something like that. But that's only available in this kit. At some point when we have capacity, we'll probably bring that into general production, and of course sell it online. It'll be $3 to $5 somewhere in that range.
Yeah, sure. But a cool exclusive piece for the people who got it on this first batch, or the V batch.
Yeah, and that's another thing. This printed tile, we're doing this for like a lot of the aviation assets we're doing lately. We're doing the stand. We're kind of bringing that back because we have the stand. We might as well make a nameplate for it. And little known fact, if you want to display the other side, you can take that piece off and actually mount it over here if you really wanted to.
Oh, there you go.
It's you have options. So if all of your models are facing this way on your display,
and you want to change it up a little bit,
just pull those jumpers
flip those
off,
studs,
and you can move it around. The stand also is movable. You can adjust it at different heights.
Cool.
So if you wanted a different attack attitude, you can. So, and that's kind of par for the course for all of ours. You do get 2 guys.
Yeah, it does include a little pair
The
of
real
pilots.
helicopters don't open this way.
How do they open?
There's a little door on each side.
Is that what I was going to say? The sticker kind of showcases. Let me show you. Wow.
On the pilot side, we have the opening door because it just opens this. If this was a real canopy, we'd be able to like pop the glass portion up too. And on the gunner side, they're open on opposite sides. So when they're getting in, they're not like bumping into each other. Get out of the way. They can each get in.
I had no idea that even flipped out there. That's
little known fact. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, you can open and close your cockpit so that the guys can get in and out a little easier. How do I get that closed? There we go. Takes a little force because Lego. You do get 2 pilots. And they are wearing, these are the kind of helmets we're selling. Those are, Gentex helmets. So, we're getting a lot of Western gear. Apparently, this could be just, this is secondhand information. When the helicopters are donated from the Czech Republic, the crews of the Czech crews left all the gear inside of it. So they got brand new helmets, brand new all the flight gear actually came with the helicopter.
That's awesome. What a gesture.
Yep. So, yeah.
Pretty incredible to follow this thing and be literally watching these kits be produced, not only from us, but then also being used obviously in real time over in combat zones. So it's been pretty amazing to track these, not only from the artwork concepts, but figuring out the exact specific variants, the various modifications the Ukrainians have made based on what they received from the Czech Republic, what gear they're wearing beyond that. It's just been a heck of an endeavor, but obviously easily motivated when you can see the good that this cash can go do once these things have moved. So very, very cool. Anything else you want to cover on the Hind?
No, I think we've wrapped it up. I mean, we've covered just about everything. You have the sturdy helicopter. You have a sturdy design. You have lots of cool little play features, but it's just mostly just a nice, beautiful display piece.
Yeah.
So I would have this on my desk if we had one.
If it wasn't sitting in the GHQ. Yeah, right, exactly. Well, there you go. That is the Designer Studio episode for the MI-24V Hind E. Thank you for joining me, Dan, and thank you very much for watching.